I was kind of struggling a little bit about what to pick for tonight because I spend my time telling other people's stories. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to tell my story tonight in a unusual twist. So, for those of you who don't know me, I was born and raised in southern Sweden. And at the tender age of 18, after traveling throughout my teenage years also, I decided to emigrate to the United States because why not? Um, and so before I show you my picture, let me just tell you a little bit about that. So I basically, I knew I had picked someplace cool when I chose Honolulu to go to. Um, but when you think of Hawaii, you always picture this sort of, paradise. And while it is, I had severe culture shock for a long period of time. Um, I had, when I arrived, 2 bags. So again, at a very young age, I was faced with this whole idea of what do I bring? What matters to me? It wasn't on this end of it. It was very early on, what do I bring with me? What matters to me? So I remember bringing a photo of my family and a CD, basically, to listen to music and a change of clothing. And that was it. I had about $20 to my name and landed in Hawaii, not knowing where I was going to stay, not knowing what I was going to do or, any of that. I really had nothing figured out. I was looking back. I don't know why they let me go. I was so green. As a young, only child, I have to give my parents props for letting me go. So long story short, on the visa I was on, I was not allowed to have a bank account. I was not allowed to have a driver's license. So yeah, faced with very little money, no idea of how to find an apartment, not speaking English very well, a few words here and there. And the pidgin accent in Honolulu, if you've been there, is not the easiest thing to handle. So I would ask questions in kind of broken English and they would talk back to me and I would have no idea what they were saying. So yeah, I had severe culture shock for 6 months or so. And so what I brought was this picture of myself here. And this picture was taken, I don't know if you can see it, so very, this was after I had figured out how to rent my first apartment. I'm just unpacking and putting up some basic furniture there. And you can see that it's the first time I'm actually smiling because I knew at that point that everything was going to be okay, that I was going to figure this out. And I keep this on my wall because sometimes, I'm getting a little emotional because sometimes, like as an entrepreneur, you think about yourself and you feel like, oh, I'm not far along in my business, or there's so much more I can do, or, I should be here by now, right? But this kind of reminds me of how far I came in this past 20 years. So, wow. Yeah, I apologize for getting emotional, but it just, I clawed and scratched my way up, basically, to figure out, who I am in this place, what I want to do. And yeah, just everything from figuring out how to drive to getting a bank account to all of these things that a lot of people take for granted. And keep in mind that this was in 1999, 2000. I didn't have a phone. I didn't know how to call home. I was on my own. I didn't have anybody to ask for help. So it is a very emotional thing for me to think back on. And I think it comes full circle for me because this is now like my life's work, right? This is what I do. I basically run 3 businesses. One is for photo organizing. As Kathy knows, I'm a photo manager, because without the photos, you know, what do we have? What stories do we keep? Um, and I found that a lot of pictures that I have are just these small candid moments, that if I don't actually tell the story, nobody would know. This looks like a regular picture that anybody would just throw away, but it's not necessarily about what it shows, it's more what it represents, right? So a lot of my photos are not events, because I'm the only one here, right? And now I have my husband, but he's from India, so you know, he has the same type of story where we don't see our families all that much. um, and if I don't tell the stories of that, then you know, who's going to know what this means? And then my second business is Scandinavian genealogy, focusing on immigrants, right? Immigrant stories. That's why I'm so passionate about telling those, because I relate to that. I know what that feels like when you don't know anybody and you don't know what to do. And so happy to see so many nomads here, because my third business is um, I'm a business coach for remote workers and digital nomads. That's how we live our life now. We split our time, you know, between India and Sweden and the US, or wherever we can go. So yeah, um, that's it.